Welcome everyone. We are starting off our penultimate week of Mythic with a very big game. It is going to be between YOLO, Scaling Copium, and Trickle Down TDE Economics. I tried to mix those two together and it did not flow together very nicely, but these two teams will mix some things up on the Rift. My name is Escape and I am joined by Erebus.
Hey everybody, pretty excited to be here. Escape's my best friend, my boyfriend, by the way, a little leak for that. So let's get into this.
I think that I have several people that would actually object to that, but I'm not
Well,
going
they're
to.
not
I'm
here.
gonna live with this meta. I'm okay with that. Scaling Copium, pretty much copy paste bans from the last time that they played TDE. The only mix up that they've had right there is that they grabbed the Amumu and took it off the table ahead of time as opposed to the GP. Meanwhile, Trickle Down Economics TDE, they had a bit of a rough run in last time these two teams met. They started off with an ace at level 1. 5-1 kills, I believe. 2 of them went onto the Misfortune, and they were unable to close it out. It was an amazing comeback from Scaling Copium. They really did just go into that late game. So it's going to be big for TDE to try and build that confidence back and try and get something big with this game.
I think TDE is a team that is very, very capable of getting early leads, and their biggest struggle is not throwing them, definitely. Usually they'll be up a good amount of gold and they'll lose a fight, and then it doesn't matter too much. Against teams like Scaling Copium, you can't give them a super big in. And there's the Yuumi pick, and there's the Blitzcrank pick. I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah,
that is a hard lane to play. Blitzcrank feels pretty good right now. Yumi's kind of busted, but Blitzcrank feels really good right now.
No, yeah, he's got incredible win rates across the board. He's effective in a couple of roles right now. These mid-scope reworks that they're doing have been really good at just taking old champions and not destroying their entire concept, but just throwing them back into the meta. Antunes, though, on this Blitzcrank is going to be pulling people in. And that is a quick lock-in of both the Sivir to pair with that Yuumi and Aatrox Smoke Swag. Feeling good in that top lane.
Yeah, we kind of have a Worlds meta coming out, or Worlds comp coming out of Scaling Copium. I like it. Sivir is a lot safe. Sivir kind of negates some of the issues that a Yuumi lane has into Blitzcrank with the shield. But Blitzcrank Kai'Sa, if you get pulled one time, you're going to die, right?
Yeah.
That is a strong lane. And Antunes, I wrote about him being not, super meta reliant or proficient as of recent, but Blitzcrank's back, baby. So Antunes is back, and we got we have a lot of just kind of staple picks for this team.
Yeah, it's weird. Enchanters have been strong all year, but it's just been that the Enchanters are so prevalent that now everyone's just picking Engage to counter the Enchanters, and the Enchanters never show up. So we are seeing champions like Blitzcrank. We've seen a lot more Thresh than I was expecting at Worlds, obviously mostly out of Mako, but that's a champion I did not see getting picked up at all. Rel's been picked. So many more engage-based supports and champions that want to get in there, and that's exactly what Antunes wants. He's really good on those champions who get to dictate not only their laning phase, but go into the later stages of the game. Find ways to get your team in, as opposed to playing back and playing for, just something an enchanter, playing like a Lulu or something like that. Jaffe, gonna grab that Fiora matchup in the top lane. That is a very skill-heavy matchup. I feel like Jaffe's saying, okay, I can just win this straight up and bully you out of the side lanes.
I'm excited for the top matchup. Like you said, it is very, very, better hands wins that one. Jaffe is very proficient on Fiora. Smoke Swag is playing Aatrox, which is just a very strong champion, right? I think whoever ends up getting an early lead is going to snowball pretty hard in that lane. The Ivern ban is interesting. I like it. Balloon is the only Ivern jungle player in Mythic, so I kind of like that. It reduces comfort picks a little bit. It also gets rid of the double Moonstone Yuumi Ivern nonsense.
Yeah, and that would be definitely scary with an Aatrox or something like that. So just trying to get rid of that infinite sustain for the team fight. It looks like TD is going to go towards a composition that doesn't necessarily favor team fighting. They've got pick and they've got split push at the moment. So we'll see if they're going to go with... Ooh, Leaves has been really liking the Eve lately.
Leaves moment. Yeah, Leaves has a weird champion pool. He has a champion pool that I would consider to be I'm going to dodge this game in solo queue champion pool with Kayn, Bel'Veth, Evelynn. It's gross, and then he plays Nunu. Play normal champs, dude. Be normal. But he's very, very good at these champions, and I like it.
I like the Warwick as a counter option here. Just to say hey, I'm gonna try and stand in front. I'm gonna get vision on the Eve, use the W to just try and get the detection down. Now his passive is not going to proc all that often because of the health regen that Eve inherently has. So I don't know how good that's gonna be, but for straight up dueling, Warwick is going to be a problem for that Eve in the early game.
Yeah, I was gonna say the pre-6, it's going to be pretty obnoxious. Luckily, Warwick's kind of buggy for Leaves, right? So there's a chance that Warwick's kit just doesn't work right. However, the champion... Ooh, okay. Kali's... I like that. Street Smurf's been mostly on Azir and mostly Azir duty, right? We saw the one Swain last week. It looked pretty good, but that game was interesting. Akali is really cool. I would like to see more players play Akali. They have a very, aside from the Warwick, it looks like a comp you would see at Worlds, right?
Yeah, no, Scaling Copium is just saying, let's go forward, let's run in. We've got like all sorts of assistance. We've got the
Whoa.
addition, the Akshan, that's going to be from Zenzen. Okay, so that is going to be a big counter matchup, I feel like, for Akali. So this is going to have to be a moment for Street Smurf to try to prove himself, not only on the Akali, but in a relatively hard matchup.
Yeah, TDE has a really good split comp too if they end up needing to split. I mean, Blitzcrank ideally you don't want to split necessarily, right? But he's a really strong 1-3-1 champ. And then Akshan and Fior are very, very difficult to match when they're ahead or even. So I like it. I think it's interesting. I think the overall composition makes more sense, is easier to execute from Scaling Copium, but I think TDE has a lot of their comfort champions, so it should even out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this double invisibility mid-jungle duo is going to work out as we head on in, because those two champions, like Zenzen really likes to play out of his own lane. That he likes getting those movements, like getting on the map. Antunes immediately run into that mid lane. We might see a little bit of a flash trade here potentially. I think it's worthwhile, you know, if you have the Blitzcrank. Doesn't look like that's going to happen though.
Definitely.
But they have the ability to get these two people out of lane undetected. I feel like Akshan is just going to be able to push in Street Smurf on repeat. And not let the Akali get anything done. And as soon as the invisibility is there for Zenzen, you can match with leaves, get those two out of the lane, but it's if they can do enough, because if that doesn't get TDE ahead, the scaling that Scaling Copium has brought with them is going to make this game really hard.
Definitely. It's going to be, I think there needs to be a lot of action from TDE, a lot of proactivity in the first 15 minutes of the game. Otherwise, like you said, they're just going to slowly kind of get outscaled. Sivir took teleport also, which is interesting. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I think Ghost might have been better, but they're definitely just playing to shove lane and back. Maybe hopefully prevent Blitzcrank from kind of getting the ability to roam. But I'm not too sure what the TP is for.
Big Q. Big Q. You know, I don't mind it. The first strike on Yumi I think is kind of interesting, but I think that mostly what's going to happen bot lane is it's going to be really oppressive from Ultravox and Antunes. Antunes is somebody who likes to play aggressive in those laning phase, likes to get in the face of the enemy. And we might see that right now, actually, as it looks like Ultravox and Antunes are kind of chilling out in the bushes. Maybe not. But you can force those aggressive trades, and I think making sure that you can take recalls comfortably as that Sivir, just then you don't have to leave yourself in a threat range. Being able to take that early recall, use the teleport, could be really good for Warplay.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't be too bad. And Ultravox is going Halo Blades instead of Lethal Tempo. I like Halo Blades in lane a lot. I usually play Halo Blades in solo queue, but I think Lethal feels a little bit better in comp.
Yeah, I had a talk with him. I'm coaching, so I had a talk with Ultravox. Ooh, hook just goes wide there. I had a talk with him before the laning phase, and you know this Kai'Sa is mainly going to be playing for the laning phase, so we had a conversation about which one he wants, but he decided he's going to go for the Halo Blades here. Getting pushed off the wave a little bit right now. Two junglers started opposite to one another, or not opposite to one another, but just that clear from the Warwick is getting ballooned down to that bot side, and with the aggression that we've already seen out of the Sivir, might be looking for an early gank. Flash burnt there though out of Warplay.
It looks like they almost know the cooldown of Blitz's Q, like within a second or two, but we're just off by a second because they're playing like you should when Blitzcrank's Q is down, just kind of sprinting at them, right? Just a little bit of a mistime there, and that's going to be a pretty exploitable thing to do now because Blitzcrank has his flash up, he can just kind of run at you, and Halo Blades with Blitzcrank is going to pretty much one-shot somebody. So yeah. It's interesting, and I would like to see Warwick. The lane's in an awkward spot for how he pathed, unfortunately. Maybe just go to Raptors and then Wolves and have a weird jungle reset clear.
It wouldn't be too bad because it'll put him at top crab, so it'll be kind of comfortable there. Jaffe just getting a little bit of a trade back in the top lane. It's looking all very comfy. I think that this top lane is probably going to start to get isolated because Jaffe is winning it so hard, but the Ignite is there on the Aatrox. So that lane could get isolated. I think the real surprise is just how much pressure that Warplek and Frozen have been able to build in the spot lane. Able to get it pushed in nice and comfortable. They're going to get their ward down. Looks like maybe it could be a 3-man invade towards where Leaves is right now, or maybe just going to go for that scuttle.
Warplek's been playing really well this entire tournament. I know that solo queue rank doesn't always end up with success. Just ask Wash. But yeah, but you know he hit Diamond 1 pretty quick from D4 to D1 relatively quickly, and his mechanics look really strong. He's been pretty comfortable in that Sivir. Sivir's not too hard to pilot, but it is hard to effectively DPS on a champion with range like that when it's short, right?
Balloon getting pushed away from that Scuttle Crab there. Yeah, no, I've been really impressed with Warplek as well. I honestly... Oh, there goes Antunes.
You miss one Q and you just leave the game.
You know, I respect that.
I
was going to say, actually, obviously with the we've had a little bit of shifting around of players and whatnot. I genuinely think Warplug has been the best ADC of this entire tournament. I
I
think
agree.
even with Kongzi being there and being the Masters ADC that everyone's kind of looking out for, there's a lot of weight on that player's back, and it's difficult. It was difficult for him to create the windows that he needed to win those games, and he had some big carry moments. But Warplug has been consistent. He's been strong. And ever since he's moved into this ADC role with Frozen, he's looked really good. And I wouldn't put anything against him. I think he's the best ADC at the moment for sure.
Yeah, I'd give it to him or Luru for sure. Luru's been looking sick with it.
Yeah.
Luru is if you guys want to learn how to climb, listen to Luru. He plays a trillion games and he looks over his VODs, he watches YouTube videos, he learns. So if you want to get better, just learn. Because he's kind of sick with it. Now, Frozen Aegis, I want to talk about a little bit. Relatively new addition to YOLO. I didn't really love them on Engaged Champions, but they've looked fantastic on Yumi. And I like the Yumi. I think Yumi's pretty busted right now.
I think Yumi's insane. And it does kind of rely on your ADC player being able to position effectively because, like, you don't have the two-pronged pressure that you normally get in a laning phase, but
Right.
Warplug's able to do that. And if you can get Yumi into those later stages, you're just scary. You just make somebody impossible to kill. And there's a lot of like prospects for that right now for Frozen. You're looking at Street Smurf, Bloon, Smoke Swag, all are capable creating big threats with that Yumi. So come the later stages, they can definitely start to force things with that, especially with that Sivir ulti. So this game is shaping up to be really just 1-3-1 against mid push. And what I'm concerned about is that TDE doesn't have themselves like enough wave clear to safely match the Sivir. And they might get pushed in, and they might start to run into problems. So it's going to be really reliant on Jaffe and Zen being in the right place at the right time, not getting picked, and able to generate pressure out of the sides, so then YOLO can't push down that mid lane comfortably.
Right. And Warplaque, a lot of people I would say Antunes is probably going to hook you eventually, but Sivir with Spell Shield and then positioning properly, it's going to be pretty hard to even punish if they're over pushing right. So it's definitely going to be on the solo lanes to kind of create, like you said, create pressure, make sure that Ultravox isn't going to be stuck under turret hell for 800 hours just trying to wave clear against a Sivir that just QWs walks away. And I think they have enough early pressure to get like first and second dragon, just because they're going to have more damage. Oh,
Ooh.
look who came back.
The return of
aimbot loaded up. All right,
Had...
so if he hits the first hook, he's cheating.
I believe that.
Yep.
I think that there's some room to say that Antunes has a reputation to uphold of just being that hook monster. Any hook champion that you're able to throw him on, even Leona to an extent, put him on somebody
kind of
with
a hook champion.
Yeah. Give him somebody with a hook, and he will hit them. He'll do crazy things, really consistent. Hasn't been that so far, and you were talking about how hard it is for him. I want to look back towards kind of these solo lanes and mainly at top lane because Jaffe had that initial lead in the health bars. It's since been kind of recalibrated and put, there's been the reset from the Aatrox. I don't think Jaffe's gotten his back yet. He's just sitting on the wave right now. So I can't tell from minimap right now if Jaffe's sitting on a freeze or not. But
looks like he has 2 or 3 minions. I would assume he probably has one because Aatrox just backed.
Jaffe has a freeze right now, Bloon is in the hardest position ever because he either has to go out there and try and break that freeze with the Aatrox, which is going to leave his Rafter camp up. He's missing, obviously, that second Scuttle's not going to be great. Leaves is going to be on the top side of the map. Jaffe has the ability to, if there is enough minions up there, and again, I'm kind of making an assumption, there is room for Jaffe to turn this top lane into like a real problem area. And if Street Smurf can't get out of lane because of this pushing power, Zen and Leaves get to do that roaming thing, and we're going to have to look for that come around. I want to say the 8-minute mark. Those two are going to be lurking.
I have a top lane expert telling me that apparently Aatrox cheater backed and it's going to be slow pushing towards Aatrox. Now, I don't know if we believe Red or not. He's kind of known as the biggest liar of all time. But it's possible. It's possible he's correct.
Debatable. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. I bet you 10 channel points, Red, that you're right.
10 channel points. Huge.
10 whole points.
That we should be coming out of the pause relatively soon. I'm not totally sure. Like I'm hesitant to get onto a new topic because I feel like we're gonna jump into something.
I have a joke I could tell.
Please do.
All right, everybody. Time for Erebus's joke moments.
All right.
So a snake walks into a bar, and the bartender's like, "How'd you do that?" You guys can all
And
laugh
the game
now.
comes
Thank
back. It's magic.
you.
I think that
Yeah.
was League of Legends saying, I don't want to hear anymore, thanks.
Oh no.
No, I'll be real. I
Well,
laughed at it the first time.
yeah, it's funny because snakes don't have legs. But all right, we're back into the action.
This game is
So,
back to being on legs, though. Jaffe, yeah, and here's Leaves in that
ooh,
top lane. We talked about this. I think Red was right. That was cheatering and going back towards the Aatrox there. Oh, hold on. We have replay bugs. Hold on. We might have to do this a couple of times. Every time that there's a pause, spectator
it's like
mode
it's
just gets bugged
Groundhog's
out.
Day. I've seen this
really-
before.
Seen this before, but we don't know the ending. We haven't been to Tuesday yet. It's looking very good right now from the pairing up for TDE. Smokeswag is in a lot of trouble. The Ignite, the Flash, neither of them are going to save him. He's not going to burn either. That is first blood going to Jaffe.
It's gonna be rough. He didn't use either summoner, so that's definitely advantageous. But neither did Leaves or Jaffe.
Luna's
And
there.
we have Warwick kind of just hanging out.
Luna is only level 3 compared to the level 5 from Jaffe. He's going to try and go for the trade anyway.
We might die.
Getting pinged off pretty aggressively. He's
That's
in a
such a
huge
big
wave
wave.
at the moment. Just going to get bullied off and away, and now the bot lane of TDE knows the whereabouts of this Warwick, and that is a lot of pressure. Here goes Ultravox trying to get on top of Warplake right now. There's the exhaust, the
Ooh.
hook. Gets the spell shield. That's 2 summoners out of the Yuumi, though. And for almost nothing traded from TDE, that looks really comfortable. You've got Eve coming back towards you. This could cause problems.
I would take that trade. You know, it's hard. It's hard to say it's bad.
Maybe Zenzen would be going aggressive right there. But there's
Oh,
that
that
first strike
cat.
Yuumi.
That
First
dumb
strike
cat.
Yuumi getting a little prowling projectile in there.
It's
And
actually a lot of
Ultravox
poke.
getting beaten up down there.
Man, that's got to be annoying. And they don't have teleport, so this is just going to be actually a really gross lane state. They're up a lot. They're up 12 CS. They're going to be up more CS. That's a force back. It's a really good play out of bot lane. And then looks like things are pretty stable mid lane, all things considered. Not too much one way or the other. Only real. I mean, there's a lead bot side for YOLO, and then there's a lead top side for TD. And
Cool.
I'm interested to see how the Aatrox kind of plays being down 1 kill.
Yeah, down 1 kill and into Jaffe, and Jaffe is one of the premier top laners, taking a really good trade right now. That stun was huge, getting a really lucky second vital there, and is happy to take that trade. That is a big wave being missed bot side right now for Ultravox, and that's going to be really free for Warplay to just get that recall and come back to lane with that teleport.
Yeah. Let's see. So Evelyn's going to. We have Warwick on bot. He has an unfortunate camp distribution. His top side's going to spawn in a second. He's going to have to run all the way over. He can maybe contest Crab. I wouldn't do it. I have a feeling that we're going to see Leaves come down with Antunes flashing on their bot lane, trying to get a kill or at least force it back, and then going for Ocean Dragon.
Yeah, there's no flash on that Sivir because of the initial interaction that they had way back at level 1, but it should be up relatively soon, I think under a minute at this point. It looks like they're going to try and set up towards this dragon. They don't have the most bot prio in the world. Obviously, both of them have finished up the back, and it looks like they're just going to go for the scuttle.
Warwick's matching.
Ooh.
It's not too bad.
There's a flash. Okay.
All right, cool. So Warwick with Yuumi is actually going to be pretty gross if Warwick gets any sort of a lead, right? Warwick on his own is an interesting champion. I'm not a huge fan, but he definitely has his strengths.
Bloon once again trying to look for a gank right now. Still level 5 on that Warwick. Zenzen getting poked away from Street Smurf. Just happy to take those minions at the turret. And the bounce happens once again in the top lane. It looks like everything is just going to chill out until
Does
one of
he
these
know?
showers can get into
Okay.
lane. Level 6 on that Eve, no.
Yeah,
Big
let's
trade
see.
onto Jaffe. The flash is there. There's the ignite as well.
Ooh.
Jaffe cannot get a single vital. Trade in the mid lane. Leaves is trying to roam over right now. Zenzen without the E available. And more engages across the map right now. Warplake trying to go in. W goes wide from Ultravox, and that level deficit is just going to be too much. I don't know if Street Smurf is aware that the Evelyn is in the wings. It was both summoners burnt out, though. Barely missing that charm.
That is a huge play for topside. Smoke Swag definitely played that very, very well, and that's going to that's really going to help YOLO's composition, how they want to play it, right? If Fiora had gotten that kill somehow, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to recover topside without having Warwick kind of perma-hover.
Yeah.
Now Aatrox is pretty self-sufficient, and you don't really have to worry about Fiora just running rampant as of yet. If Smoke Swag can continue to play Aatrox, to that level, I think TDE is going to have a bit of an issue with their composition when it comes to a little bit past mid-game.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of disrespect from Jaffe. Not burning that flash quite early enough gets him into a bit of trouble. And now the pressure mounting in all of these lanes is starting to really add up. These side lanes, I mean, obviously Fiora's still in a good place. Antunes looking to try and cancel this back. I imagine he will just find a spell shield. Yeah, no, just gonna cancel it now. Hold on, he might try to trip back to the fountain. Flash and heal having to be burned for that. I don't know if that was worth it right there, Antunes. The exhaust comes down once again. Ultravox trying to trade into this. Good damage onto Warplick, but even more onto the TDE bot lane. They do not look comfortable down there. And look at the rotate now. YOLO moving towards this dragon, moving towards the bot lane. Gonna try and keep Eve off of her bot side camps, but Eve is in the top lane now. Smoke's in the middle of the lane. Doesn't have the ult available, doesn't have either some. And this is gonna be another kill getting fed to Jaffe.
Cool. Their bot lane is Yellow's bot lane's looking very, very strong. I like this play from Bloons. I think they definitely get the kill. Even okay, you
flash over. It's gonna hit Antunes. The trade though for Ultravox is really nice. Now Zenzen trying to get away. Great flash. Street Smurf in a lot of trouble. No way to get away. Zenzen reacting to the perfect execution with a perfect flash, and down goes the Akali.
There's plays everywhere. So top side, that's a good pickup on Jaffe. Really good gank by Leaves. Bot side, honestly, I think they would have gotten both kills if they had just been patient for like 2 more seconds. Warwick tanked 2 tower shots instead of letting the minions crash. But they got 1 kill. Ultravox ended up picking one up, which is going to help the CS deficit to an extent. And Zenzen with that kind of sick play. That was a really good flash. Street Smurf overcommitted. Zenzen punished him for it. And every lane's going to be pretty gankable for the junglers. Both have flash available, and nobody else really has any summoners.
Yeah, and that is going to be a huge confidence booster in that mid lane, because now Zenzen can feel free to get on the map. That's a kill picked up. Obviously, there's no sums available for the Akali, but now Zenzen up the level, up the gold, going to be able to get out of that mid lane really effectively. And we could start to see him and Lees really start to do what this composition is capable of. Go gank those side lanes, go create pressure, and desperately Ultravox needs that
great the silence.
Tunes, and bye-bye Sivir gonna go down, and that is the fear factor that is put in with Antunes' Blitzcrank.
That was a real... I like that. I like that idea. Walk up if you don't, Warplaque's up way too far, unfortunately, for them. Antunes just, you know what? You're gonna spell shield me. I'm just gonna make it so you can't press any buttons, and we're gonna get you. And Bloons is caught out.
Bloon. They didn't know that it was a 2v1 right now, having a flash away. Charm's gonna tick up. And this dragon starting to get hotly contested right now on this bot side.
And Jaffe has the first item finish as well.
Oh, good.
That's a dead.
Down goes the cat, the ultimate. Gonna be able to get them out of there. Antunes gonna trade himself. He does.
Oh my gosh.
Ozen Aegis definitely room to get killed here.
Doesn't cancel the
please. And Ultravox gonna barely live with the minions. Surely will take him down. Misplay from TDE.
That is, you know how Teemo used to have a global taunt, kind of like everybody would just turn and gank the Teemo. I think Yuumi has taken place of that. You see Yuumi, you just turn your brain off, and it's like, we're gonna kill this stupid cat. And unfortunately, the cat had the root, and that was a little scuffed. And now they're gonna lose dragon pressure because of it.
Yeah. We do see that Zenzen's made the move to the top lane, though. Sees that Smoke Swag is out of lane, might be able to catch him on the way back. This is a good way to cross map for the mid laner of TDE. Jaffe trying to bait it as effectively as possible. Is half HP. Here comes the engage. The ultimate is not available once again for this Aatrox, who's just having the roughest time in this top lane. Jaffe was a third assisted kill. Then going to move on to that turret for plates.
That's kind of when you'd like to see some question mark pings coming out on the mid lane.
Yeah.
Man, that's just unfortunate. I mean, Aatrox doesn't have any wards. He's not in the worst spot, but I mean, even if Evelyn had come up, right, the same thing happens there. You can't play as aggressively. Ooh. I like the play. Blitzcrank has a pretty low ult cooldown. I think you just keep trying to do that. Time it with it, eventually it'll work out again. But Aatrox can't be
that
up
he's
that
going to
far.
need to really find that. Yeah, no, Smoke Spike has just gotten caught several times. Ultravox taking too much damage in that bot lane. The Sivir, she chunks so hard. The more the AD rolls in, her Q starts to do ridiculous numbers. It's not where it was before, but boy, does it still hurt.
Hey, coach, check the Ultravox build out.
Again, we talked about options. We had a conversation about it, like it's I trust that he's going to play to what he built, we'll put it that way. It's very easy to see eye to eye when somebody is also a caster, also an ADC, and also his name's Spencer. So it might not be seeing eye with too much right now as he's getting chased under his own turret. Street trying to make his way down. Antunes can't find the hook. Yes, he does, but the play from Frozen to jump off and tank the turret. Yuumi, tell me that champion doesn't have some mechanical prowess. Leaves now in the top lane. This Aatrox already knows what's coming. Jaffe never takes the engage alone, and down goes Smoke Swag for the 4th time.
Warplaque and Frozen are playing super well. Frozen's Yuumi's looking a little better than the solo Q Yuumis you get sometimes. That was a really good hop off, and I love the Ludens build. I know it's meta now, but it's just so strong. I think Ultravox unfortunately just couldn't get his ult off in time. He had it up, and they might have been able to possibly turn it. It still would have been pretty close, but right now it's kind of top lane versus bot lane a little bit. The 3 kills on... Oh my gosh, tower's down already.
Yep,
3
bye
kills
bye.
on Ultravox definitely helps, right? Because you're down 20 CS, but the 3 kills, I think each kill is equal to what? 10 CS, right?
20, but yeah.
20, yeah, same number. Who cares? So technically speaking, he has a minor lead.
Oh, Zen
And
Zen
Lee's...
caught a 2v1 right now. The CC is going to be really strong. Doesn't quite have the flash available. It is seconds away. Trying to make his way out of there right now.
2-1.
Ticking down. It's so close. And it unable to get it. Now the re-engage comes in. Leaves and Antunes are now here. Here comes the flank, though, from the bot lane of YOLO to try and help out. Blind hook potential here from Antunes. Is he going to look for it? Is he going to look for it? He's not going to try.
I like the non-overcommit from Antunes and Leaves there, right?
Yeah.
Because technically in a 2v2, they ended up cleaning that up, right? I was actually kind of confused as to why they didn't, because I don't look at the mini-map too much. But really good situational awareness to know that the bot lane is coming up, and it would have been a terrible, no good, bad day play if they did that.
Yeah, it's going to keep them, with this 3k gold lead that is mostly on this top lane right now. The Sunderer already finished up. There's Boots, there's Executioners. There's really a bit of a garage sale up there for Jaffe at the moment, working towards a whole bunch of items, but that is gold in the pocket that the Aatrox is missing. And even though there was so much jungle attention dedicated to that top lane, that was all attention that Bloom could not match. And now, Jaffe's going to turn into a side laning monster, and I don't think there's any one person that can match him.
I would agree with that. Aatrox was positioned pretty well to be able to do that until the whole team decided that top lane's not going to have fun this game.
Yeah.
But Warwick definitely can't in his current state. Maybe with some more items. That Fiora is just really big. It's going to take 2 people. Or Jaffe very egregiously misplaying for something to happen. I do like the... I think they're aware of that, which is why they're playing around mid and bot pretty hard. And Leaves has the Eye of the Herald. I'd like to see it probably dropped bot lane, and then just send their pressure mid lane, have Sivir try to clear bot. It's kind of difficult to really decide where, because they don't have a ton of pressure on the towers aside from Jaffe.
4v5 looking at this dragon right now. And I don't think as TDE you really want to be looking for team fights at the moment, because that Sivir is, she's very, very strong. You're basically at the same point on the ADCs, but Sivir is just a stronger team fight ADC at this point in the game. Ultravox trying to find a way in onto that Aatrox, but you're forgetting about the rest of YOLO. Here comes Bloon, finding the way onto that Kai'Sa. Really good disrupt there from Antunes. The ultimate has been burnt. There it is. Ultravox able to get out, but now here comes the re-engage flash over from Warplek, able to get the Yuumi ulti, and they find the Blitzcrank. And now, can TDE answer? It looks like there's the engage coming underneath the turret. Fight with the Yuumi's in a lot of trouble. This top lane goes so close. Jaffe finds the kill. Warplek's also gonna fall. It is 3 kills picked up for TDE, and Smoke Swag is running away with a little cat into the forest.
Little bit of an overcommit there, bot lane. I think you should be happy picking up the kills that you get. No need to really dive past tier 1. Just catch the wave, push it. Top lane. Jaffe's just going to be the biggest issue alive this game. All right, so we got Warwick coming in. He goes all Warwick mode, and then doesn't do anything else because he's Warwick.
This almost feels like a little bit too much of an overcommit right here, but they're trying to get themselves pressure for Dragon. They're trying to get themselves
ending right there is okay.
Yeah,
I think this really part is where it goes really bad.
It's miscommunication between the top laner and the rest of his team. They're able to turn onto Warplek, find that kill. Bloon gets picked off in the jungle. This surely is going to be a Dragon transition from TDE, and Jaffe won the solo in the top lane.
Yeah, and Jaffe, I mean, what are you going to do about it at this point, right? You try to Kali, Aatrox can't do it. You kind of threw your lead a little bit. The gold lead's only 4k. It's not insignificant, but it's not a ton. Especially with Sivir, right?
It is kind of at that point, usually, where you can afford to lose no more team fights.
I would agree with that. Right.
Once you lose one more team fight, not just individual picks, but one team fight, the game falls apart at 4K.
I would say, yeah.
TDE is playing a composition that's dedicated more towards getting picks, so that type of thing shouldn't happen. So I think that there's definitely room for YOLO to come back into this. Plus, like you mentioned, the Sivir's there, the Yuumi's there, the Aatrox is there. They have tools to get back in.
Sivir can't be there, though.
But Sivir has no tools to get out right now. Trade looking forward for the ADCs on the bot lane right now. Ultravox with no chance to get out of that one alive, and Warplek was able to get out of there.
Okay. Sivir, 80 carry moment. Everyone's just trying to murder you.
Bloon should be dead here. Leaves getting feared away. Run forward from Antunes, but he's going to get chunked out. Not aware of the Yuumi damage with that Sivir. And it's just going to be a solo kill picked up for Street Smurf in the bot lane.
I really like Frozen Aegis's build. He goes Shadow Flame second, which I think is really funny. I think it's just a funny item. I like it. You know, it's like, I'm going to do more damage than half my team.
This is going to hurt. Jaffe starting to get the
Stand
pressure.
against the wall.
Just trying to run away. Gets slowed up from the W. Jaffe says, I will take the solo kill. Thank you very much. Leaves, grabbing an assist with that Q. It is 1 dash away. It is 2 dashes away. Maybe they're going to give this over to the Kaisa at this point, honestly. Ultravox in the wings. The W goes wide. Jaffe like, tunneled on it. 1 auto, 2 autos. It is going to be
take it. It's yours.
It is going to be a kill for Ultravox.
I think Antunes should have just grabbed it. It would have been funny. It's for the content, right? You know? Like, 4-man chase, Blitzcrank grabs it. That's an A+ play. That'd be way more funny. But in terms of game state, I think they should just pick up Herald, throw it on Jaffe, have Evelyn keep kind of running around, being a little menace. And Zen they have a lot of invisible champions, right? Once Kai'Sa has her speed upgrade, they're going to have 3 people with invisibility, which is actually going to make the team fight a little bit awkward if they kind of coordinate around that.
Well, where the invisibility is really going to, like, if they go for team fights, where it's really going to get felt is you have no idea how to set up. Because if you have the Warwick facing down the Kaisa and your backline gets CC'd, Kai'Sa's now behind you and you're looking at Blitzcrank, right? Or if they're positioning back to try and protect their backline, Leaves and Zenzen might be in front of them already. And so they're mispositioning. So the ward control from YOLO has to be next level. And I don't think Smokeswag has that, convenience right now. Because surprise, the ulti's back up from Jaffe, and it's a kill to Zenzen.
Man, I don't know. He wasn't even positioned very aggressively that time. They are just playing around. I mean, they're playing around their strengths, right? Jaffe is just huge. Zenzen's able to gank very effectively. He's also CSing amazingly for how often he's been roaming. Highest CS in the game. Almost perfect. I mean, he's like, what, 8.5 a minute right now? And
yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, that's just really good. Jaffe, oh my gosh, that proc was gross. I'm surprised that TDE did not go for the Herald, though. They had 4 members topside, and I know they wanted to reset to do other things, but I think you probably could have afforded a few extra seconds to get the Herald.
Yeah, they are going to give it up, and that means that there is some pressure with Bloon right now. But this lurking in the jungle right now from TDE, they're going to walk out of there with the red buff. Zenzen's there to help. Street Smurf maybe going to look for a play on this Evelyn, but loses track of her, and that's going to be that. Resets from TDE as we're looking towards this dragon in 1 minute 30.
What do you think YOLO should be doing right now? I mean, they're pushing the waves properly, right? I mean, top's gonna kind of be slow pushing back towards them, it looks like. But I think they should just kind of meatball it, right?
You remember game 1 of the season where it was Eek versus BBZ, and Eek got a very, very fed Twitch Yuumi, and they were just lurking around?
Yes.
That is, I feel like, what YOLO is going through right now, because you don't feel like you can put anyone on side lanes, you don't feel like you can walk up in your mid lane, because there's pick potential everywhere, and they can all take the 1v1s, and there might be more than one person there. So the submarining gets really difficult, and the challenge is you have to basically play deductive reasoning and figure out where they are with where you don't see them, right? And you need to be able to get those side waves. You can't just sit in one big ball, because even though that protects you, Jaffe's going to take those side lanes. Jaffe's going to continue to pressure, draw people away, and the more time that you spend balled up as a group trying to move around to the right objectives, that's more time for TD to react, set up traps, and find situations like this where maybe Bloon at risk of getting hooked right now, as they've just got full dragon control. They might give up mid-turret for it, though, as it looks like the rotate's going to come in. There's the Shirelia's proc from Antunes. Warplike in a little bit of trouble, but surprise! Street Smurf is sitting in the bush right now, and it's on to Ultravox, who's going to go down almost instantaneously under that turret. Leaves, having to pop the ult, get it alive, flash over the wall. The Ignite was ticking. This is a big fight going over to the side of YOLO. Is this where a TDE is once again going to drop the lead? Leaves, picks up 2, and is able to get out alive with the E, and then now it's Jaffe, 1 versus 3. This is the opposite of what he's been doing all game, but he's built, ready, and trained up for it.
And they got the revives.
And Smokeswag trying to find the trade, but he's got the E back online. Jaffe is massive, and they're able to win that team fight. 5 for 3.
All right, TDE say thank you, Zenzen. Thank you, Jaffe. That was a really good setup on YOLO's side. You know, having Akali just kind of hiding in the bush, Yumi with everybody was out of vision, at least as far as I'm aware, and just getting that much upfront damage right at you, your AD carries immediately picked off. Blitzcrank, I mean, he already ulted. What's he gonna do? Just auto attack you. And Leaves got blown up. They had a really good target focus there. Unfortunately, or I guess depending on who you are, fortunately, unfortunately, Jaffe is just absolutely massive. Played that perfectly. If he played that poorly, they could have CC'd him and killed him. And Zen got the revives off, stayed alive, got a kill, and all is well for TDE.
Jaffe is just way too big at this point in the game for YOLO to deal with him last, right? All of their
Right.
cooldowns are gone. They're out of tools. And like you say, if there was ways to find CC onto him, then there's a way to pick him off. Fiora already is so immune to that anyway, because of her W, because of her mobility. But on top of that, there was no good way. They were out of spells. They couldn't deal the damage that they needed. Street Smurf had already spent all the energy diving onto Ultravox, and by the time Jaffe and Zen were actually in the middle of that fight, the damage was just too much. And it was really a slapping with the wallets moment, and now we've seen that team fight go the side of TDE, and it's going to be really problematic for YOLO to get back into this.
Yeah, and it looks like the gold lead has kind of ballooned beyond the 4K, obviously, with that team fight win. And we're getting, oh my gosh, there's so much zoom. I can see everything. This is great.
We have no more game, apparently, from the Spectate right now. Obviously, Spectate is a pretty magical thing sometimes, that it doesn't want to give you actual game. This is a kind of a Riot Diff moment, but I really do want to see how the end of this game goes. This is really, really close. The game, apparently from the sounds of things, like we're not that far behind it or anything like that. It's just frozen on us for a bit. Do we have any tools to try and like reset this and come back in a moment? Hard to say. So we might have to just transition to a little break and hope that we can bring the rest of this game to you guys.
Now I can confirm that the game is still going on. That's all I can share on that end. I get.
Yeah. Okay. Are we gonna go to break, or are we gonna? I'm kind of at a loss. Got words in my ears right now. Okay, we're gonna try and make this work.
All right, so how was your day?
How is my day? Well, my
How was
day
your day?
has instantaneously gotten more stressful because I started a new job today. This is the first time that like I've been coaching TD while they've been playing. Uh, and so like they're like putting together certain things that I'm excited to see. This game has been on a knife's edge so far. And I really do want to know how this one's gonna be able to work out because it's already not looked like it hasn't been a cut and paste system from either team. It's been really like dodgy and sideways, and it's benefiting TD because they're playing that pick comp. But I still can never count YOLO out. They've got so much talent on their side that if they can just put one big team fight together, they could still be in this game.
Hey, well, congratulations on the job. Everybody clap in chat, please. All every single one of you right now. And I would agree that the game feels a lot closer than the gold necessarily shows, right? I mean, they were down 5K gold in that fight, and they almost won. Jaffe clutched it a little bit. I could definitely see this kind of once some more items come online, and we do have that third item on the Sivir now, so Sivir and Yumi are going to be doing a lot of damage.
Are we just going from right here? Can we go back at all
Okay.
or no? No, okay, we can't go
All
back.
right, well,
We missed 4 minutes.
2 inhibs down.
Yeah, we might have missed another team fight in there, which is kind of heartbreaking. It's even gonna be more heartbreaking for this world ender right now. Gonna go down once again. He grabs
I mean,
that
at that
objective
point,
bounty.
you might as well just grab the bounty, right? I
Yeah,
kind of like
right.
to play.
Here's the Baron picked up. YOLO trying to make plays in the side lane right now, but the gold has exploded up to a 10K deficit since we blinked and looked away.
Yeah, looks like we have gotten Jaffe caught out by.
I could have believed he was going to live
everybody.
here, but the engage is there. That's ulti's burnt, but YOLO is going to pick up that kill. But TDE is already in their base. It's a late recall from Bloon, and now Antunes is going to look to try and pressure. There's Baron on this. There's 2
Ooh.
marksmen, so these turrets can die really fast. Sivir can only do so much to wave clear right now. It's 4v4. If YOLO can find the engage, Street Smurf's trying to find a way into Zenzen, but takes so much damage initially from the double auto. They find Zenzen with the Warwick ulti, but the knockup is there and instantly deleted. Bloon out of this game, potentially for the rest of it. Smoke Swag is back onto the map. Jackie is the TP, but isn't up for 20. Big!
I don't think... Oh, my God.
Aatrox trying to turn it back and gets blown up, but at will break up the game-ending play there from TDE. Street Smurf has that ulti available. Gonna try and look for a play over the wall right now. Isn't gonna see the Blitzcrank finishing the recall. Ooh. The ulti is burnt. Can't find his way onto Ultravox. Here comes Flash forward. Slow from the queue. Can Ultravox play this? Doesn't have that ulti available. No, he burns it, but he can't get over the wall. Street Smurf picking up 1 kill, but does he know? Leaves us in the wings. Gonna try and turn this one if it's possible. Grabs that charm. Leaves. Happy to pick up the kill.
That was a lot. Okay, so Aatrox said, I don't know what a durability patch is, and almost one shot like 3 people. Proceeded to immediately get 1 shot back. Akali covered approximately half of the map in terms of distance with a flash. Killed Ultravox. We got Bloom going in for the savior play.
I respect it, but this is not Soul Bloom. It's not worth it. Gonna get picked off in the pit. Soul goes over, and it's just Ultravox missing right now. 2 members from YOLO down. Trying to make a play in the top side, grab some gold while they still can, as TD is going to look towards this bot wave.
I would say that TD is going to have a hard time closing the game out unless they can pick... I would, pick 2 people or have Baron again, right? Because Sivir's going to be able to wave clear super minions very effectively, and they don't really have super good engage tools aside from exclusively Blitzcrank, right? Jaffe's split pushness kind of goes out the window a little bit when every tower's gone.
Leaves us on the side, trying to trade with the Aatrox right now. They try to create a 2v1, but it's impossible. Leaves taking Smoke Swag off the map once again. 11 deaths for that poor Aatrox. He's trying to make it work, but it hasn't been great. The last tower goes down. TD
just hit
looking
the
to pad the KDA. Jaffe's taking nothing. They turn towards the Nexus, but Zenzen gets blown up. Ultravox is finally here. There's no way for them to get onto the Nexus carefully. There's the play in from Street Smurf. Misses the E, but lands it onto Antunes. Street Smurf, very low, in the Shroud! And YOLO, by the skin of their teeth, Warplek brings it back.
If you turned off the nameplates and told me which team made that play, I would not have guessed that was TDE. Guys, just hit the Nexus. I know it's funny, but there's 5 people alive. Just do it. Oh, you goobers. Sivir picks up 3 kills. Really good timing to get back, right? Right here, if they just auto-attack, Sivir, 1 goes to the left. Zenzen keeps autoing. They end up killing it, but that is just so much damage out of Sivir and Yuumi.
Yeah, and you've got the bot laner stuck on the bot lane inhibitor turret. They try to turn to fight this, because just overcommitted to the play. They barely can't find Street Smurf, and now Warplek with that IE finish is enormous. Cleans up the remaining members of TDE. And now, can YOLO hold this game?
I think they can. I mean, Sivir has 316 CS, 4 items, going to finish the 5th one relatively soon, I believe. I think it's going to be coming down to Baron and Soul, right? If YOLO can stave off the Hextech Soul, then they're probably in a pretty good position to end up winning the game. If TDE manages to get Baron and maybe 1 more pick, then I think they can just end. All the inhibs did just respawn again, though, so the game's going to be pretty interesting. Jaffe should be able to split.
I have news. Oh, okay.
News, you say?
I was going to say there's a ward right there. The thing is that all the inhibs are back up again. They've had the time to delay. 2 minutes, 30 seconds on Baron. We're not looking for anything for a while in the Dragon department. I don't think that this is a TP into the base and end angle, but...
No, definitely not.
As YOLO, you can't afford to take a fight outside of your base. So this is a good time for TDE to say, Ultravox, let's just let you collect. Let's let Jaffe collect, finish up that last item. You can get gold, and as long as everyone doesn't immediately single file push the lanes in, you can get all those waves in together and try and pressure, but it looks like they're going to try and put 3 down that mid lane right now. Leaves us enormous on this Evelynn.
Yeah, Evelynn is a bit large at the moment. Death cap finished is always gross. I mean, we saw what happened to Aatrox, right? Just EQ ult, that's a dead Aatrox. So if Leaves can find a good angle onto Sivir and Yuumi doesn't exhaust for some reason, they can get 1 shot.
Oh, they found Bloom by himself. Has to burn that flash. They saw the Sivir finish the recall. There's the hook there from Antunes, and this is what TDE needs. Cleaning up that first kill. Good stun on the Street Smurf, but are they going to overcommit? Jaffe's already in the base right now. Zenzen trying to clean up. Jaffe taken incredibly low right now. Lee's trying to find his way forward right now.
Sivir is so gross.
and here comes Smoke Swag on that Aatrox. Ultravox going in so far, picks up 1 kill, but he can't trade it. Jaffe sitting in the base right now. Zen uncomfortable on HP. Jaffe trying to move up towards this top lane. He's gonna have to run away, get into that Hex Gate, and get out. It's a 2-for-1, but it still looks good for YOLO.
I like the Maw on Sivir, you know? Like I was talking about, Leaves is the primary I'm about to die threat for Sivir, right? Especially now, you shouldn't really be getting hooked by Blitzcrank at this point, especially with you know, your whole team generally being on top of each other, and then you also have your spell shield. So Maw's going to prevent a lot of things happening, especially if Yuumi has Exhaust. I like it. I'm not sure if it's the best 6 item, maybe Wit's End, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, when you're this big of a member for your team, you just have to not die. That's all you have to do, is just don't die. And Warplike hasn't done that in a while. Warplike has not died in a very long time, and thus the Sivir damage has been there consistently. And tunes up really far. 3v3 available. Trying to find a way in onto Warplike right now. Bloons in the backside. Leaves! Trying to blow up the Sivir, but he can't finish the kill. And here comes Warplike. They haven't killed the Warwick yet. Warwick is still sitting there alive. Zen here to revive his teammates. Able to pick up 2 kills right now, and it's Street Smurf in a 1v3. The Aatrox is there to try and help Jaffe over the wall. Now Ultravox in an awkward situation. Just the flash available. Down to 2 apiece. The Zonya's gonna keep that Akali alive, gets out with the flash, but the ulti is there from Zen surely to pick up the kills.
They just end, right?
Jaffe trying to look towards the mid lane. They've got 30 seconds before anyone's able to respawn. It is 1 to stop the recall and 1 to end the game right now. Zen, you just have to not die, but Aatrox makes that kind of hard, trying to find a way in. Gets that kill picked up, and TDE, far from clean, far from comfortable, but they are gonna pick up the win.
That was a game that could have ended a few minutes ago for sure. I really like YOLO's, you know, they didn't just give up, right? They were down 1 trillion gold, and they were still trying to make proactive plays. If I go 3-13, I'm usually pretty tabbed out mentally. So props to them for almost pulling it back. Warpack looked gross. Did 40,000 damage, yeah, that makes sense. Leaves Evelyn is pretty fun. I hate Evelyn. Evelyn scares me. Good champion. Jaffe looks like you gave Jaffe Fiora, so just stop doing that, guys, right? Overall, really mostly clean game from TDE, I would say.
Yeah, it's mostly clean's a good word for it. There's maybe I just have a different mentality now looking at these games, but there's definitely stuff to work on. I have to say, amazing for YOLO to make that game look that close from such a deficit behind. That it genuinely, I think if Warplike doesn't greed to flash forward there to pick up the kill, I think they can win the game there. Just wait for your teammates to get back. It is so close, but it is the game going over to TDE. That is exactly what they needed. We are going to be moving on into an interview with the mid laner of Zen. Played that Akshan so well, so stick around.
Hello, FOF family. We are here yet again for another exciting day of Mythic and another exciting day of Mythic interviews. This game was a bit of a banger. There was 4 minutes of it lost to the darkness. Zenzen, you wouldn't know that, but we got riot gapped a little bit. But in the end, after the darkness was dissipated, Trickle Down Economics does come out with the win. Trickle Down Economics 2, Stonks Rising, pardon me. I'm joined by the mid laner, the famous Zenzen. How are you feeling?
It feels good to get a win, and it feels good to get a win with some fun characters today. That was a good battle against YOLO.
So yeah, let's dive right into the draft because if I'm remembering correctly, Bloon did target the Warwick on B1, which is
Uh-huh.
spicy. I like that. Of course, Bloon also has a enigmatic champion pool. I might be wrong about that. I must admit I was looking away a little bit during the draft, so no one flame me if I'm wrong. But Warwick coming into the draft, that's spicy. Sivir Yumi, Resident Sleeper, whatever. Akali Aatrox, seen enough of that in Worlds. On your folks' side, though, you got Blitzcrank, which Mark has been doing some good work on the world stage. That was interesting. Unfortunately, shouts out to Top Esports, but Brit Antunes, the Blitzcrank master, bringing it out. Kaisa, of course, and then Evelyn, very spicy. We got to see some really good NA Fiora, and then absolutely ending it out with the Akshan matchup. What were your thoughts overall on the draft you folks put together? What you ended up against?
So the last time that we played YOLO, we played a front to back fight comp and we lost. And we lost after having an overwhelming advantage in the early game. I don't know if you recall that game, Chris, but we 5-man aced them at level 1, and then they proved that their team fighting was much superior to us on the day, and they had like Swain, Aurelia, and Vi, and it was really hard for us to like get our
Oh,
coordinated ults
yeah.
off. So going into this second match, second half of the season, we established that we wanted to do something very different this game. And we looked at their team and their champion pools and thought that perhaps top lane was a place that we could attack. Um, and the fact that they were willing to give it to us in the first half of the match, they lock Aatrox, means that Jaffe gets to slam his famous Akali, and then we sort of play around making that Aatrox life as miserable as possible. The Eve Auction is something that we've been wanting to play for a while now, and it's a lot of fun. Um, and it just once we got ahead, it felt like YOLO really struggled to find fights that they could take because they didn't quite know how many people were there at any given time.
Let's dive right into it with the game itself. One thing, of course, that I talked to you in the break is that okay, so I'm unaware. I'm a little nooblet bronze supporty. Did not know how good the Akshan matchup into Akali. I mean, I can theory craft it a smidge, but the thing that caught my eye coming into this game as things loaded up is it is just low key impossible to lane against exhaust in mid in certain instances like this, especially when it's so ubiquitously good against most of their team. Especially if you're going to have a Warwick as the so-called jungle threat that might be coming your way. It's good on both of them. Like, it is so good to have the exhaust. It's just like, yeah, I don't think so, buddy. So talk to me a little bit, if you would, about sort of the early game tempo for you in this laning matchup and how you folks were able to get off to such a strong start in this game.
Yeah, so in terms of laning against Akali, Akshan is actually pretty solid into it. Akali could really thrive can thrive into certain characters that they can bully out and like do enough damage to be able to chunk out and then assassinate. But Akshan has a shield. I can take fleet footwork and I can take exhaust, and because of their composition, I can build wits end first. And so Street Smurf, I think he has looked very good this season. I think that if I'm evaluating my own play from a subjective standpoint, I think he's a stronger mid laner this season than me. And I knew going in the game plan is like all about Jaffe, all about Leaves carrying the game. I just need to be the role player. I need to clear the wave, and then I need to sit in a bush in stealth, and make their lives hell just by like vision denial. Um, and so I will admit that I messed up the lane a fair amount. Like I took more damage than I should have, but I think the plan executed well. And although we got pretty sloppy at the end of the match, I was really happy with how our game plan executed through most of that match.
Let's shift our gears a little bit to looking forward now that so the stakes of this matchup was of course that if YOLO does end up beating you folks in this, they could contest you for that third place spot. In the end, TDE does come out with the W, and that's going to mean that you folks are going to be locking in third place as we put, or you're locked into the top 3. I misspoke. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are locked into third place. You can still contest at the top. Or I think for second. I'm not up
Yes.
on all my scenarios, but yeah. So talk to me a little bit about what you folks are thinking, what you're feeling, having now locked in this third place and looking forward to playoffs.
I think TDE is pretty happy to show that we're still a top 3 team in the league. I think that's about right for where we're at in terms of our consistency level. I'm very excited about what we've been able to show today because I think that a trap that many teams in the league fall into is they think that there's one way to play League of Legends, which is to gorp fight with big beefy boys. And I think TDE has shown a couple of times that we can do other stuff than that. And so, as we approach these last 2 games of the week, both our match today and our match tomorrow, knowing that, we're going to be in playoffs guaranteed, we should try and improve and grow and be as absolutely strong as we can for playoffs. And so I was very excited to be able to sort of work on this new strategy and continue to iterate on it. And I think that the competition, at the top of the table is going to be extremely fierce once we actually get into the playoff portion of Friend or Foe, because all of these teams look scary, right? Even though we won this game against YOLO, there were absolutely moments where they could have turned things around. The Sivir Warplaque was monstrous. Every team has standout members. SLR in particular is honestly terrifying. And I cannot wait to do battle in the postseason. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it was a effective strategy. So effective with the vision denial, with the invisibility of Evelyn and Akshan, that in fact you made 4 minutes of the game invisible. So tip of the hat to TDE on that one. And before we step away, though, Zen, I do want to give you one last opportunity for any final thoughts, any shoutouts, any banter.
Trickle-down economics is the superior economic-based team. We'll continue to show that as we move later on. Also, I really enjoy playing with my teammates. I say this a lot of times when I come back on broadcast, but it's always fun to be here and always fun to play games with my friends. So, and thank you guys for continuing to run Friend or Foe. I mean, we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much, Chris.
Awesome. I appreciate that so much. Shouts out to all the staff that make it possible. And folks, we do have a second game coming up next. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back to see if you can count on BBZ to pull that red shell out and help you folks ascend to that second place. Let's see if BBZ can take out the universal basic income, folks. We'll be back with our second game next.